believe. Hundreds. Hundreds, and everybody loved him. And his legal procedure was totally hopeless. He was an attorney, too. I've always loved that part. So Raymond Burr, eventually could rescue everybody, and the DA lost every case, but somehow miraculously kept his job.
But they couldn't get away with that today, right?
No. I don't know. I mean, I think there's a certain willing suspension of disbelief that goes on. Stephanie Plum is still chasing bad guys in New Jersey. 23 is coming out in November. So, is that really credible? Who cares?
It's always great when you have a good detective.
Yeah, actually, we had that discussion with John Sanford on Monday. I think he has more fun with his villains than he actually does with Lucas or Virgil. And he had a particularly great villain in this book. So, I think your strength, though, is the fraud. The villains, some of them are despicable, but you're almost like a caper writer, where there are lots of pieces to the whole thing, and you have to figure it out.
Yeah, the challenge for me is that it's in first person, present tense. So now I do third person. The villain's usually seen in third person because they can't see the villain.
Right.
So starting in book, did I ever tell you that story? When I wrote Open and Shut, it was in first person, present tense, Andy talking the whole time. And I sent it to her, and Warner Books bought it, and Sarah Ann Freed, who's like a legend editor, called me and said she loved it for the. So I said, okay, I didn't know anything, so I took him out. And then I was reading a James Patterson book, and he was doing it on every other page. So I called her and I said, Sarah, James Patterson does it. And she says, yeah, but he's a bestseller. She said it like that is one step above a pedophile. Bad thing to be. So then Sarah Ann unfortunately died after the second book. And I kept doing what she said for the next 6 books until I had lunch with another editor one day, and we both realized it'd be better to do it the other way. And we each thought the other one didn't want to do it that way. So starting in book 8, I think, now I go back and forth. So I'm able to show the villain more now.
Did writing the thrillers change your approach at all? Because they're different.
No, I mean, I think the thrillers are more like real writing. It's not. Andy talking is easy for me. The other stuff is harder. And now, a book called Blackout came out, which everybody really liked the characters. So now, starting next year, instead of doing a standalone and an Andy, I'm going to do a series with the Blackout characters and an Andy.
2 books a year or every other year?
No, 2 books a year.
Okay.
And I've been the last 2 years, this year and last year, I did 3 books.
That's because you moved to Maine where there are so few distractions. Was Blackout the one where the guy commuted in reverse from New Jersey into Manhattan? Which book was that? It wasn't an Andy, but you remember? Yeah, the guy worked in New York and lived in New Jersey, so he did a reverse commute. I really liked that book.
No, that was Heart of a Killer.
Right, okay. So which one is Blackout? Because I don't.
Blackout is the guy gets shot and loses his memory. It's an amazing book. I don't think that's ever been done before, has it?
An unreliable narrator? Surely not.
That was an original idea I had.
At the airport. But they're always fascinating, to wonder what the revelation will be.
Heart of a Killer. By the way,
I really like that one.
well, what I'm doing now, I'll tell you the stupid thing about it. Heart of a Killer is about a woman in prison who is convicted of murder, and she's going to give her daughter on the outside is dying of a congenital heart disease, needs a perfect match for a heart transplant. So the woman wants to give her heart to her daughter, killing herself in the process. State won't let her, so the lawyer has to reopen her case and try and get her out so that she can do this. So about 6 months after the book came out, we were having dinner up in Maine with friends, and he's only up there in summers, and he's a noted hematologist at Johns Hopkins, like a world famous guy. And he read the book the day before we had dinner, and he said, I don't know if I should tell you this, but you don't have to be a perfect match to do a heart transplant. He said it's not even important. He said if it was important, no. He said if it was important, It wouldn't be the mother. It would be a sibling. So the entire premise of the book was bullshit. I mean, that drove the whole book, that she had to be for every match. So anyway, the reason I'm telling that story is when I'm right now, I'm writing a Broadway play. Yeah, I mean, I'm writing a play that's meant for Broadway. And it's based on that book. And this guy actually did research and came up with a way for me to solve that stupid medical problem.
Do you remember if there was an episode of House that involved a person, a father and a child that needed a heart transplant? It's the one house that has always stayed in my mind because the father had amnesia. Do you remember this? The medically impossible
He
part.
stole my amnesia line.
The medically impossible part is the guy had been in a total coma for something like 10 years. And they had woke him up in order to think about the heart transplant. And he got up out of bed and moved around. I'm here to tell you that if you've been in bed for 10 years, and you are not in condition to even sit up, let alone get up and walk around. The guy goes off to kill himself rather than go back because the drugs that have taken him out of the coma are wearing off and he's going to go back to this vegetative state. And so he decides to kill himself in order for his heart to be donated. And as he leaves house, always the empath says, take an aspirin. That's his last line to this guy, you know. Be sure you take an aspirin. I never forgotten that.
Finding a dog.
You're looking for the cover?
Yeah.
Excellent. See, I gave him a moment to check his phone. You're all looking like nobody watched this episode of House. You said
So what kind of dog is this? Whoever knows dogs, it's a smaller one. We know what kind of dog that is?
so cute. All right, dog people. It's a little black and white dog.
Well, they told me a breed, but I don't know what it was.
Yeah, that looks
Is
like a
it-
border
is
collie.
it
I
brown?
found one that looks like that.
Oh, so it's like a cat.
But check your facts.
The cover, which you can barely see, but we'll put it on the table when he's signing books, is Tara has a leash in her mouth and
No,
a
that's not
collar.
Tara, that's not a gold.
It's not a golden?
No, it's got a black, I don't think.
Well, who would that be except Tara? Surely there's not some strange dog
Is it a
muscling
gold? It
in.
looks like a black face.
Well, it has
No,
ginger,
that's not
ginger
Tara.
hair.
That's
It's not
not
Tara?
No.
You mean it's a stray dog holding another dog?
No, there's only supposed to be one dog in the book, but
That's it.
we'll work it out.
Extra chapter.
Ready?
News for you, we got a rescue dog from, from a group here that lives up where we live, at Scottsdale and Shea. And when I asked what she was, they said, we don't know, because she's from Los Angeles. This is a longer story. And I said, why is she from Los Angeles? So what they said was, all the purse-sized dogs rescued in Phoenix are sent to a shelter in LA. And all the dogs smaller than, bigger than. Do I have that right? Yeah. And the other dogs, bigger dogs, are sent from LA to Phoenix. So, in other words, purse dogs are hot in Los Angeles, bigger dogs are hot in Phoenix, so they have no history. In any case, my husband then decided he wanted to know what she was.
You got a DNA test.
Yes,
Yeah.
purely adorable. So he ordered a DNA kit and he swapped it and sent it off and he came back. She's half Shiba Inu, which is a Japanese dog and actually the same color as the Goldens and part Pinscher and part Terrier. And she's really sweet. But I just thought that was the most interesting thing, you know, that there would be like a certain demand for a certain kind of
I
dog,
didn't
you know.
send it to a shelter in LA, I was a rescue group, but,
Well, it probably
I know
was.
somebody
right.
who does small dog rescue in LA and no problem. The
No,
small
the
dogs
point
get
was,
adopted
it's the
really
small
easily.
dogs in
Right.
Phoenix that are all sent to Los
Right,
Angeles,
right.
right, which I thought was really interesting, because they'd be more adoptable at the rescue thing there. So, but anyway, dog DNA, maybe you could do something with mistaken identity, and,
I think I did that.
did you,
I think so.
you swap the dog? send it out for analysis?
I think so.
Did you do that? Does that sound fair? Okay.
I think I did.
Saved a little work, but did you come out
I think I did. I think there was some dog that was like 5 years. It was supposed to be in a murder scene or something 5 years earlier.
Oh,
I think so.
okay. So David was telling me that he is such in demand that when he put out a bid, so to speak.
Making it sound like I'm bragging.
I didn't realize how. I thought it was fascinating, that people are so interested. Let me rephrase that. This wasn't about David. The fact that there are so many groups so active and so interested in rescuing dogs. How many requests did you get?
141 cities.
Wow.
Congratulations.
I think that's a remarkable tribute to you, actually. I don't think it sounds like bragging. I think it sounds like
Well, I
people
mean-
think that you're doing remarkably good work.
Yeah, but they don't want me there because I'm charming. They want me there because they think they can raise money, which is fine, which is what the purpose of it is. Yeah.
But if you were charming, who would
No,
want to
yeah,
come and
I mean,
pay to see you?
And I don't even use my full charm. At most, I use 60% charm. This, by the way, is 40%.
Okay. Gotta keep stuff in reserve, right? So how many Goldens do you and your wife currently have?
We only have 16 dogs now, and 5 of them are Goldens.
But you moved how many in dog tripping, right? So you all know about dog tripping, David's wonderful account.
25.
25.
And 5 are left of the original 25. But we've been there for 5 years, and these are all dogs. So, but in Maine, there's no rescue problem, so there's almost no need for us. I mean, we only rescue. They call us, and they have, like recently there was a 12-year-old boxer and a 13-year-old yellow lab that were turned in together. So they felt they couldn't place them, so we took them. And then I was in New York about 2 months ago, and a woman emails me. She just read Dog Tripping. She's head of Memphis, Tennessee Golden Rescue, and she placed a dog in Boston a while back. The dog has terrible separation anxiety and thunderstorm problems, and it'll be destroying these people's house. They're going to put her down if she doesn't do something. Do I know anybody? So we drove home and we picked up the dog, who is fantastic, right? And no problems at all. No, well, you can't have separation anxiety in our house. But the dog is unbelievable, so we got her. So.
Was the dog on its own in the house in Boston?
Apparently they had another dog, and then that dog died or something. I don't know. I don't believe what these people were telling me.
I asked because we had a purebred fox terrier who had terrible separation anxiety, and that's why we got the little rescue dog. The day she arrived at the house, he got over it. He just stopped.
Yeah.
I mean, he was perfectly fine, now, as long as there was another dog there. I think, he just felt abandoned.
We
And I
rescued a
just
dog
wondered
once
if
that
that
his
happened.
face was the dog's name was Gus, a golden, was all cut up because it had gone through a window in the previous owner's house from separation anxiety. And we never had never had a problem. I mean, what we did was when we first left him alone, we went to our guest apartment and we hung out there for 20 minutes and we looked in, and an hour we looked in and the dog was just sleeping on the couch. So we never had a problem.
Really chilled, once
Yeah.
he got there.
Yeah.
So, do any of you have questions you'd like to ask David about his various books or things that he does? Or...
Yes.
Are any of your Andy Carpenter books going to be made into a movie? And if so, who would you want to play Andy and Marcus Clark?
We'll have to repeat it for the microphone. So the question is there going to be a movie or television for Andy, and who would he cast as Andy and for Marcus?
Right. I hope so. I mean, it almost. I wrote a pilot, and then it almost got bought as a TV series, and then it didn't. And hopefully it will. But I used to be president of marketing for a movie studio, so my job was to know who all the actors and directors and who people were. Now I'm like a dinosaur. I don't know anybody. I mean, if you ask me who I want to play Andy, I'm thinking Peter Falk would be really good. So I have no idea. But if they would make the movie or the TV, I don't care if Shirley Temple plays Andy. I mean, it doesn't matter. And Marcus Clark, somebody emailed me the other day, a woman, she said she and her husband are wondering what Marcus Clark looks like. and I don't have the slightest idea. I think in an early book I may have described him as African American, but I don't even know that. I don't have any vision, so that's why writing a play I think would be good for me, because I'm good at dialogue, but I have no visual sense. So that you would think a play would be the best thing for me to do. But I don't know what Andy looks like. I don't know what Lori looks like. I don't know. So I don't have any idea who would play Marcus. When they were going to buy the pilot, buy the Andy in the series, they were talking about Noah Wiley
There you go.
Yeah, I could see that.
and Oliver Platt.
Oh, perfect, perfect.
Really?
Perfect.
I don't even know what he looks like. Noah Wiley was in A Few Good Men.
Oliver Platt was, what was he in? Oliver Platt is a perfect smile.
The biggest, worst disappointment I've ever had in my work life was on Dog Tripping. Steve Carell signed on to produce and star in Dog Tripping, and it still didn't get me. I was buying satchels to take the money home in. I mean, that was a no-brainer. And it didn't.
Just one of those Hollywood stories.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I never thought it was a good movie because it really has no dramatic thrust to it. Like, we left and we got there. But you can create something. Right? So I honestly don't know. He does movies at Disney and Disney and Warner, and they both turned it down. So,
What is the play about?
about 100 pages. No, it's going to be based on Heart of a Killer.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right, but not with the thriller part.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You did say that. I put it out there. Anybody else have a question?
Are you gonna bring song talking back? It's been a while.
No, I can't.
That's the best.
Yeah, I know. I loved it. It was
I
like,
wasted 2 pages for him to say he ain't heavy, he's my brother.
oh, wasn't that
Remember
great?
that? Was
That was
great.
the first one.
It was great.
Oh, man.
I'm like,
That
that whole 2 pages was a waste. You get to
I
play,
loved
it was
that.
awesome.
I remember writing it, but
Bring
I
it
didn't know I was
back.
going to do song talking, and then he walks in, and Sam's like really down. And, oh, man, I love that
He
scene.
ain't heavy, he's my brother. That was awesome.
That was in The First Degree. And Sam, who's his accountant, pretends, Andy walks in, song talking is sneaking lyrics into a conversation with any other person, and Sam is really down, and Andy says, what's the matter? His brother is he went home for the holidays, his brother is so sick. For the last year, he's been wasting away, he's down to 110 pounds, and Sam is so upset, and he's going to die. Sam was so upset that his brother never told him this whole year, and Andy says, well, what are you going to do? And he said, what can I do? He ain't heavy, he's my brother.
It took 2 pages to get to that. It was great.
Right, but here's what happened. First, I stopped for 2 reasons in increasing order of importance. The first one was I'm such a dinosaur that Andy's 35 years old and he's song talking West Side Story, right? My wife took me to a Fleetwood Mac concert about 10 years ago, and that night I found out that Stevie Nicks wasn't a guy. It's really true. But, and I'm sure I told this story already, but after maybe New Tricks came out, I wrote that there was I think I did You've Got a Friend, one of those, right? I said it was a James Taylor song. And we get an email from Carole King's attorney demanding $10,000. So I checked with a lawyer I knew. He said, you don't have a leg to stand on. Make a counteroffer. So I counteroffered $5,000. Unbeknownst to me, my agent, who also got the email, called that lawyer. I really didn't know she did this, and berated the lawyer. That how could you take money from this guy? Every dime he makes goes to dog rescue. And she sent him a video that the publisher had done in my house of me with 30 dogs. Right? So 2 months go by after I counted 5,000, and I finally get an email from call from their lawyer. Their counteroffer is 1,000, and they will donate it back to us for dog rescue. But life's too short,
Maybe a little research and then bring song talking back.
Oh, I'd love doing that.
I thought it was great.
Oh man, Somewhere in the City, I did one.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Poetry and lyrics death if you don't get permission.
I know.
It's really true.
Yes.
You're not planning to retire, Andy, are you?
No,
Are you planning to retire, Andy? Is
You're
the
not getting
question.
bored with him, are you?
I don't know. I mean, if he'd be the last thing I'd retire, and right, if I retire, then I wouldn't do him anymore. But if I was going to reduce it to just one thing, it would be Andy. You know, when I start the books, like it was like reconnecting with old friends, but I'm pretty sick of them by the time I'm finished. You know, I'm like a lesser version of the Dorothy Parker quote, which is, I hate writing, but I love having written. For me, it's sort of like, I'm not crazy about writing, and I like having written. You know, so I'm less on both ends of the spectrum. But I just signed a 5-book deal, which includes 3 Andys, so, you know.
So you'll carry on.
for that-
There may not
for
be
that.
many other job opportunities in remote Maine, so, you know, there you are. Besides, you know, it does take
My
money
phone
to
is
run
not
it.
ringing, I can tell you that.
Oh,
Yes.
Lori and Nancy don't have it.
No, I know.
Paying to take care of this kid.
I think you brought some dog. They have another,
Yeah, I don't think so. Now we're ready to have a kid and 2
Two
dogs.
dogs.
Yeah, I don't think so. I may have made a mistake with the first kid. You can't kill off a 10-year-old kid. I have to account for him. In one of these books, I'm not sure if it's this one or Out Fox, Lori actually goes to Wisconsin, or no, she goes to Wisconsin with the kid,
Right,
because he's in danger or something.
yes. So what's the rest of it?
Yeah, but they're not gonna have another one, that's for sure.
It's true, because once you add a child, then you always have to worry about childcare, or can parents actually take risks if it's going to leave the child, you know,
Right.
parentless.
Or
I
a
mean,
dog.
That too.
When my first standalone was Don't Tell a Soul, and that guy had a golden retriever. So he went on the run. So now what? What are you gonna do with the golden retriever? Right? You know, and
Yeah.
so that's it for that. So no, they won't, definitely won't.
Joe, do you have a question?
Yeah, so in your books, obviously, Tara, we know where that particular dog came from, but Sebastian, anything in real life that kind of brought Sebastian and that?
He's
type of-
asking about the word.
name Sebastian?
Well, not just the name, but the breed of dog, I mean, do you have?
No,
No?
we don't have a Basset. The name Sebastian came from somebody at a rescue auction on a character name. And so I'm pretty sure. That's the other thing. Whoever wins his character name, email me. Because I have trouble keeping track. A woman in Mission Viejo paid $9,800 to have her name in the book, and I lost her name.
Oh,
It's never been in the book. And clearly, she just wanted to make a donation, but yeah. So I sort of,
Astonished she hasn't gotten a hold of
you
you.
know, she had, and this was like Barry Louis, like it was.
Oh, wow,
10
that's
years
a
ago.
long time ago.
Yeah.
Maybe she was. Maybe someone murdered her.
maybe he was right about it.
Maybe you accidentally put it in.
What's that?
Maybe you accidentally put it in.
It would have to be a complete accident.
Yeah.
Maybe her name wasn't like Florinda.
Yeah, I know.
It was some, you know, basic name that it really Anyone else? If you don't ask questions, we're gonna be done. Yes.
How did you start doing dog rescue?
How did you start doing dog rescue?
When I met my wife, she had a golden named Tara. That was the greatest dog in the history of the world. And then when, about 6 months later, Tara got nasal carcinoma. And the 3 months it took for her to die after that, she had surgery, and then it was like a transforming experience. And Debbie wasn't ready to get another dog after she died, and we started volunteering at the shelters in LA. And it's horrible out there. I mean, really horrible. So it became too passive just to watch. And one day, the event that moved us was, we were in a shelter in Baldwin Park, California, which is the worst of the worst. And a guy comes in with his 3 kids, turning in their 1-year-old lab mix. And when you turn a dog into Baldwin Park, you have to sign a piece of paper saying you understand they can put it down after an hour. So, I mean, they don't usually, it depends on how crowded they are, but It doesn't last more than a few days. If, you know, they're not waiting for the owner to show up, right? Anyway, we heard them talking, and they had gotten the dog 10 months earlier as a puppy at that shelter, and it was full grown and not cute anymore. So they're turning it in, and they're going to the back to get a puppy.
Oh,
So
they should put the people down.
Debbie
Wow.
annihilated this guy.
Good.
Right? I was like, you know. And they left without getting a dog, though I'm sure they must have come back when the lunatics were gone. So we rescued that dog, and it just started steamrolling. We realized we couldn't sit there and watch dogs just getting put down or rescued as guard dogs, you know, because there's no application necessary in LA, you know, for in the shelter, public shelters.
Really?
So that's always fun.
Wow.
How many, does anyone know how many rescue groups of various kinds we have here in Phoenix?
Quite a few.
Or under PAC 911.
Sorry?
94 under PAC 911's umbrella.
94? Wow.
And there are some rescues that aren't under PAC 911 as well. So
Yeah.
I would guess well over 100.
Are many of them like yours breed specific?
Yeah.
Maybe, I would say maybe half. The
Maybe
rest
half
are
are breed
mixed-
specific and
Mixed
then,
breed, and some do both dogs and cats.
okay. I know the one we went to get Mallow, you know, was just any dog. They didn't, because my husband actually looked initially at a Jack Russell, which are really cute, but have more energy than I felt that we could actually go with. I mean, they can try, you know, jump 6 feet in a single bound.
It's amazing how many great rescue groups there are around the country.
Right.
I mean, I've seen a lot of them. It's unbelievable the work they do. And in New England, I did a benefit for a rescue group in New Hampshire last year. They bring 40 dogs a week up from South Carolina. 40 dogs every week. And the dogs are spoken for before they get there. That's how great New England is for dogs compared to the South, for sure.
But there are other animals too. Joe, don't you work with horses?
Yeah, he had a horse rescue in Nevada. Because we would get called by animal control to go pick up the horse, and it was skin and bones, and it was the same situation as with the first dog that you rescued, but we'd see fat, happy, younger horses in the back. They basically just, it wasn't enough horse for them anymore, and they just basically put it to the side and left it to wither away. And it was pretty hard to control your temper in those kind of situations, so I can relate to what you and your wife went through that day.
Yeah, the problem is when it comes to getting a dog or a horse, I guess, from some of these people, you can't get pissed at them and yell at them, or because that you want them to give you the animal.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I mean, there's times we'd come home and there'd be a horse tied to the front fence for the night, the same, please take. And, but, you know, the economy was tough, and it was feed the family with the horse, and so we ended up.
Every year at Easter, they're always pleased, you know, about don't buy your child a bunny, you know, because they will lose interest in it when it becomes a rabbit. And, you know, it's really terrible the way people think of animals as currently inanimate objects, or maybe just wind-up objects or something. Not like that. Yeah. Well, I like her Halloween kind of first scarf there. We have several dogs here tonight that are dressed for the holiday. It's wonderful. There's 2 of them over here, I think, that have these wonderful, we should have a little parade. Can you get her to come up here for me? Because then we can show her on the camera.
Yes.
Yeah. Come on, sweetheart. Look at you with this beautiful, there you are with your,
You better hear before.
what are the 2 dogs over here that have these wonderful Halloween sort of necklaces?
Charlie and Tessa.
They are wonderful. Hi, sweetie. You've been so well behaved, too. Look at this. Don't you just love this outfit? I mean, is that classy or what?
These 2 are therapy dogs, and they go visit Royal Oaks Life Care in Sun City on Saturdays. So,
And there's another one over there that has some.
so they have lots of gear.
I can see that.
Yeah.
She's very comfortable.
Yep.
Myra.
I did that too.
Now we've got Yeah, he's working on, drugs sniffing dogs, cancer sniffing dogs, and. Yes, indeed, there's a bunch of you over there, too. Maybe this would be a good time for you to come up and conduct your auction. Would you like to do that?
Sure. Do you need some help?
Okay. Do you need somebody to help you? You've got 3 dogs. Wow. They're all so excited too. They're really wonderful. Hi there. Is this an older dog because it's so young? Is it just that color or is the white face and it's an older dog?
Yeah. They can get white at different ages, but usually 7 or 8.
I see. Okay, shall I give you the microphone? Would you like to sit? I can do this. Sure.
Are we on? Are we on? First of all, I'd like to thank Barbara for inviting us here tonight, Arizona Golden Rescue. She's going to be very generous to give us a donation from the book sales tonight, and we appreciate it so much. And to David also for allowing us to auction off one of your names in a future book that he's going to write.
Sure is.
And now we did this a couple of years ago.
I'm emailing you.
Yeah.
It's collar.
Yes. And I can also email you. Anyway, he finally did put the name of the winner the last time we did this here. He finally did put her name in.
What was the name?
Marley Fletcher. Marley was going to come tonight. Is she here? She was going to come. I've
One
been
person
emailing
won
with her.
here. Person won here is a repeat character now.
Ah.
A guy named Fred Brandon.
Yes, he was.
He's in this book, I think.
Ah,
He
okay,
runs
good.
the shelter in Patterson, New Jersey.
Yes, that's correct. That was the first one we ever auctioned off here. Yes. So you see, it really does happen. And I just want to tell you a little bit about Arizona Golden Rescue. We formed in 2009. We rescue mostly golden retrievers and some golden mixes, meaning golden doodles, golden Aussie mixes, golden whatever mixes, and we do whatever is necessary to make them as healthy as possible before we adopt them out. And one of our more recent expensive dogs happens to be here tonight. She's a puppy back there, the little blonde one. John, bring her up here. This is Nala. I brought her and her sister up from Casa Grande in August. And this little girl was so sick. She was so sick, she had aspiration pneumonia, tick fever, and valley fever. Hey, stop. And valley fever. And she was in the critical care unit at Animal Medical and Surgical Center here in Scottsdale for 9 days before they felt comfortable releasing her. And she's just now fully vaccinated. She'll be spayed by us in a couple months, probably. Anyway, her name is Nala, and she is a high-ticket dog, is what we call her. But she is a sweetheart, and this is her second event as a representative of Arizona Golden Rescue. Mufasa, who's getting his dander up here because the puppy's trying to get in his face. Mufasa came to me 7 years ago with heartworm. Heartworm does exist in the state of Arizona. He was born and raised here, and he tested positive for heartworm. And it was because of him and a couple of other dogs who were asymptomatic that we test every adult dog for heartworm, because it does exist. And we probably get 1 or 2 cases a year of heartworm positive dogs. The other thing we test for all the time is valley fever. And if you've lived in Arizona for more than 3 months, you have heard about valley fever. Golden retrievers, for some reason, are especially prone to valley fever. Yes, it is a fungal disease. The spores are in the air, and especially during the monsoon season in the summer when we get all those dust storms rolling through here. A couple months after that, it's really a good idea to have your dog tested for valley fever because they can be asymptomatic too, and if they get it, becomes an active case, they can die. So don't fool around with valley fever. Get your dog tested. Pardon me? It's treated with the same medication that humans use. It's called fluconazole. That is the drug of choice. It is an antifungal medication. Some dogs need to be on it their entire rest of their lives. Others end up going into remission. They don't call it a cure. They don't call it curing, but they do call it remission if the dog's titer test goes down to like 1 to 2 or 0. So, but it can come back. So it's a good idea to get your dog tested for valley fever every year. Yes, this is Mufasa, by the way. He's an attention hound. Okay, so we rescue dogs. We've been doing it for a while. We've rescued 764 dogs in 7 years and found good homes for them. So I think we're doing a pretty good thing, and we're proud of what we do. So David has been gracious enough to allow us to auction off a name in a future book of his. So keep in mind that these books of David Rosenfelt are circulated internationally. So somebody over there, somewhere, England, Germany, France, wherever, I'm sure they're translated into how many languages now? 30?
English.
Oh, just English.
This will change your life.
This will change your life, and it actually may help change the life of a dog that we bring in to rescue. So we are a nonprofit 501c3 group, so any amount that is donated tonight is tax deductible, as is any other donation anybody ever chooses to give us.
So do you accept checks?
We accept checks. I can even take credit card information.
Wow, look at that, awesome.
Yeah.
So you can either bid for your dog, or yourself, or a friend, or your child, or whatever,
Yeah.
right? So
Whatever name you'd like to
Whatever
have
name.
put in a book of his that will be circulated internationally, I will start the bidding at $100. So
what
anybody
name are
else?
you proposing?
For me.
For you, okay, not Mustafa, because then we might get into a terrorist plot. Just checking.
So
Great name.
who's gonna overbid me? I really don't want my name in the book.
250.
Thank you. 150. Anybody higher? 200. Let's go. Come on. International circulation of your name or your dog's name in the book of David's. Come on, 200. Anybody go higher? Tax deductible, people.
At 200, you're going to be a pedophile.
Now, just keep in mind, this is Scottsdale after all. Yes, I absolutely agree. It's Scottsdale. And if somebody in, where was that, in Los Angeles area? That dropped the 98? Mission Viejo in Southern California. If somebody in Mission Viejo can bid $9,800, surely we can come up with more than 200. Come on. Anybody else?
We'll do 250.
250. Okay, that's great. Anything else? Remember, it all goes to help the dogs that we rescue. Yes.
300.
300. Anybody else? Oh, you. He says that's not enough. That was Duffy over there commenting on the world.
This for an auction house, he'd already won.
Yeah. Okay, I have 300. Anybody else? 300 once? Twice? I guess it's okay. Joe, 400. Michelle, you want to overbid him? It's only money. It's tax deductible. I have 400. Anybody else? Once. Joe's looking at me like, Come on, you guys, come on.
And I get this done.
No.
I have 400 once, 400 twice. Say again? 500. Thank you so much. All right. That 500 will buy,
Not a pedophile.
it will buy a standard exam with vaccines, a heartworm test, a valley fever test, a microchip, a leash and collar, a spay or neuter. And then we're just about dry.
Wow. You are a high maintenance puppy over there.
Nala's hospital bill after being in critical care for 9 days was $5,200. So, she's worth every penny of it. She's a sweetheart. Every dog we take in is worth.
Charlie's was more than that. He had the hip surgery.
That's right.
He was
Charlie had hip surgery.
Stray with hip surgery needed.
Yep.
1 year old at the time.
And Mufasa had heartworm, as I said, so he had to have that treatment. It was $1,000 and had to be kept confined with no exercise for a whole month. I had him in my laundry room. I had 4 other dogs in my house at the time, and he didn't know there were other dogs in my house for a whole month. And then when he was liberated from the laundry room, it was like, party time!
Is that why you're such an attention whore?
Oh, yeah. Okay, 500. We have 500 once. Anybody else? 500 twice. Anybody want to overbid 500? We'll even take 525. 500 it is. Thank you so much. Thank you. Over after David starts signing books, and I'll give you information.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much, and thank you.
Oh, it's really a pleasure, but David is the one we really should thank. He's the one that'll do the work, provided we remind him.
Somebody's petting me.
Well, I thank you all very much for coming this evening. Are there any other questions for David that we have not answered, or you would like to ask before we? No? All right. Then,
We have to make 8 dogs Hanukkah.
What's that?
Oh, there you go.
8 dogs Hanukkah. That's a good idea.
Six dogs of Monza. They go the freight.
a Hanukkah dog would really be kind of an interesting.
So you're into this now.
Yeah. That's very nice. Well, let's thank David so much for coming back. Sorry,
We should know the gentleman's name so we know him when we.
That's right.
Yeah.
your name, sir?
My wife.
Stand up and we'll give you a round of applause.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
You can use first and last, is that? You can use Carol Kwongness.
That's good.
Sounds great.
I've gotten some weird ones. A friend of mine actually, he's Puerto Rican, his name is Ricardo Davila. He won character name in Dead Center, which was in northern Wisconsin. There are not that many Davilas.
You were kind enough to stand up and fold up your chairs and lean them against the wall. David is going to migrate over to that small wooden table over there. And then you guys will do the same. Stand up and put your chairs against the wall. If you need to take your dog out for a quick stop, it's right through that door is the parking lot, perfect place. And get your book signed out. Thank you very much for coming this
Character name in Dead Center, which was in northern Wisconsin. There are not that many Davilas.
You were kind enough to stand up and fold up your chairs and lean them against the wall. David is going to migrate over to that small wooden table over there. And then you guys will do the same. Stand up and put your chairs against the wall. If you need to take your dog out for a quick stop, it's right through that door is the parking lot, perfect place. And get your book signed out. Thank you very much for coming to this small wooden table over there. And then you guys will do the same. Stand up and put your chairs against the wall. If you need to take your dog out for a quick stop, it's right through that door is the parking lot, perfect place. And get your book signed, and I'll thank you very much for coming this